In this video, I want to talk about the process of making sure that you're able to understand how to get information both out of and back into a Google Sheets document. I see in my community, a lot of people are learning how to build AI agents for the first time. And I think this is one of the most important things that you can understand is how to be able to properly process the data that you might have in a spreadsheet to be able to pass it forward and into the rest of your agents. And then how do we get that information back into the spreadsheet once it's been processed or wherever it needs to go. All right, and so here I have an example workflow that, it's one of the ones I give away in my community. It's my marketing plan generator. And you'll see that I have a whole bunch of Google Sheets nodes, right? Just a whole bunch of them. And that's because I'm both pulling information from, and pulling from, and then putting information back into. Now, pretty much all AI agents are three-stage. You have some amount of input, you have a processing section, and then you have an output section. And so we'll see, we kind of have this input section here. Well, it's input section here. There's some extra inputs there. We have processing that's roughly there. And then output is all this kind of back half here. So what we're doing is we're pulling information from a Google Sheet. Now, the way the Google Sheets nodes work is this is a trigger node. And what we have here is I'm connected to my Google Sheets account. So you'll need to make sure you set up your Google Cloud Console. I'll put a link in the description below on how to do that. And what we do is we're going to pull that sheet. So pulling means that this is acting, what this is doing is it's making a call over to Google every minute. And every minute it's making a call to Google and it's saying, hey, has there been any activity on this sheet that we need to be aware of? And it's based on this trigger on condition down here. So it's currently set to row added. I can change that to row updated or otherwise. So, and that's just how this one is set up. And so what we're doing is we're pulling from a spreadsheet, the marketing plan generator spreadsheet, and from a specific sheet, the marketing plan input. So I happen to have that spreadsheet here. We're looking at marketing plan input, this one here, and it's looking for whether I'm creating a new row. All right. And so that is how you are able to get information from a Google Sheets using a trigger. All right, there's another way of getting information from Google Sheets, and we would use this one here. All right, so I have another Sheets node here. And what we do is our resource is sheet within document. And you can actually change this to something else. You can actually change it to the document as a whole. But we're going to do sheet within document, and our operation is going to be get row. Now, get row is going to be the one that we're going to use anytime that we want to pull information out of the sheet. All right, so get rows. Now we pick the resource that we're pulling from. In this case, I'm pulling from the same spreadsheet document. And I'm actually pulling from a different sheet. I'm going to be pulling from the describe your business sheet over here. And so it's going to then get that information, and it's going to get all of the information. So I don't have any filters. I can actually choose to filter it if I want. So say that I was pulling information from this marketing plan input, and my product service name is the same as my company over here as an example. I could make it limit to which rows to pull from. All right, so maybe you have that situation where you don't want it to pull rows, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 1,000. You only want to pull one very specific row. You can set that as a filter here. And if I add a filter, it's going to ask me which column do I want to filter it based on. So I can maybe do company name, and then I might be able to reference another node previous in my bot, maybe based on that first input that I had. That way I would put in here. In this case, I could just automate business AI. Because that's exactly what would be in here. That's the company name, Automate Business AI. And it would only pull that one. So if I had another company in there, maybe I have another client or something like that, or maybe it's another process. Maybe you're a real estate agent and you're looking at various zip codes or cities. You can limit that information so it only pulls the specific stuff that you want. All right. In this case, I'm not gonna change my bot, but I can add additional filters. I can add it with an either and, so it needs to match both filter conditions, or I can set it to an or, so it needs to meet only one of those conditions. All right, and those are the two ways that we would be able to pull information out of Google Sheets, either based on a trigger or based on looking at the sheet and what was added. Now, you can also, there are other methods of doing sheets. So let's take a look really quick. So you can have other sheets actions. That's pretty much it. So here we have on row added, row updated, and on row added or updated is our triggers. and here's our different document actions. So really, I guess I was right. Get rows is the only way to be able to pull information out of a Google Sheets. Now, when we're putting information back into the Google Sheets, you may wonder like, well, how do I get it back in to like the specific column here, Brad? That might be your question. Well, I'm glad you asked. So over here, we have another Google Sheets node. But I guess before we get that, I want to cover this one as well. This one here says append. I don't know if you can see that. We'll zoom in real quick. This one says append to sheets. We'll come in here. Append means to add to the bottom more specifically. And so we are able to add additional rows to a sheet that's already ongoing. And here we see I'm adding to my marketing plan output. So I come over back to my sheet, my marketing plan output. It would add an entire new row. So you see I have a couple different options here. It would add an entire new row based on the thing that I have here in my marketing plan input. And I could have added a new row, or I could have changed this, but it would add it to the bottom here. And then what's going to happen is the rest of the workflow is going to be based off of this because that's how I have it set up. And it'd be putting everything into the additional columns moving forward. But the append, what we see here is I'm able to add in the values to send here. All right, values to send. And what I did is I grabbed the JSON snippet from the schema. So in fact, let's go ahead and have this run for just a second. Hopefully it actually does, and we don't get any too many issues. Okay, one item is fine. I'm happy with that. All right, good, and good. It's creating an outline for me, and we're gonna wait for it to create my information, and we'll be able to show you how to kind of drag and drop information in, because this is really what makes n8n so awesome, is my ability to take the information and literally just that I grab it and drag it into where I want it to be. And specifically here, based on the sheet that I have, marketing plan output, over here, marketing plan output, right? These columns up here at the top are all labeled right here. These are all the same columns. So if I come over, I can look at them. So I have product service name, marketing plan output, paid social advertising plan. So I have product service name, marketing plan outline, paid social advertising plan. It's all of my columns. And so here when I'm appending to the bottom of my workflow or to my spreadsheet, I'm able to put in as much information or as little information as I need when I'm creating that new row. Because maybe I don't have that information quite yet. Here right now, my agent is creating an outline, and it's actually using DeepSeek, which is why it's taking a couple minutes. It's using a reasoning model, and there we go. Okay, wonderful. It finally output it, and everything turned green. You'll see green means that there's a connection. It's able to see the data, and it's able to present the data to me. So we have my product service name, and I'm pulling that, you'll notice, from my Google Sheets trigger. So right here, and I could just have grabbed this. I can just come over here, delete this out and show you. I just come over here and grab it from the schema and drag it into the column. Boom, there it is. Now I'm able to put in that information, and let's check really quick. Did I create a new row? Is that what I just did? I have not actually created it yet. I just generated the outline. And the outline itself, it just dragged over and put in. Well, I don't have any other data to put in yet. Yet being the key word. I do want to fill in all these other items here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to come forward. We're going to add that row to my spreadsheet. All right, and we should see one item come out. Boom, one item. Come down here. There it is, my new row that we just added. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to run this switch. I'm going to see which paths information is coming out. So it looks like the only option I had, and it could be because of the settings that I had over here under marketing plan. Yeah, the only one I had turned on was this one here. So that's why we only see one option, which is totally fine. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and have it generate that option. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and explain this node here now that you can see it. All right, so this is an update sheet node. This one over here was an append. This one is an update. And I believe I actually have the option of doing an update or append. And that's for situations where you might already have the information in your spreadsheet, but you might not as well. And so if it's not there, you would add a new row. But if it is there, then it would just update what's already in the row. So I currently have this set to update. And to be perfectly honest, there's no real difference between the two types of update or append or update. It's exactly the same process as we'd see here. What you have to do is you have to choose a column to match on. And so what we would do is this top one right here, it'll tell you that this is the one you're using. After you've selected it, you have to select one. So in this case, we're matching based on our product service name. All right, come over here. Product service name should be this first column. There we go, product service name. All right, and then we've put that in. And for this branch, the only item I would be updating is my influencer advertising plan. All right, so like I said, you can add as much or as little information as you want. These other branches I have over here add the different sections themselves. So organic social, we come down here, we see I add organic social. All right, so let's come down here, take a look into this node. We'll see that it generated text, and we'll see that it's green. That means everything's good to go. It's good to post. If I wanted to grab it from my schema, all I do is drag it over here and place it in. Now, one thing to note, and I probably should make another video about this. You'll notice right here, you see the FX, that stands for function. But these other ones don't have it. And that's because if I hover over them, you'll see over here on kind of the right side, it says fixed, and it's kind of highlighted. Down here, expression is highlighted. Expression means that you have the option of putting in text or in JavaScript code, whereas fixed will only put in text. And so because these are empty and it's fixed, it's going to return an empty value, and it's not going to put anything in at all. So I don't have to worry about accidentally overwriting something. Whereas if it was set to expression like that, this is not truly empty. It will attempt to put something in, and it very well could overwrite something in my Google Sheets column or in my row on this column specifically. So do be aware of that when you're inputting information into Google Sheets, if you have all of these set to expression like that, all right, like all of these are set to expression, function, function, function. If another agent somewhere else put information into these columns, it's gonna erase it. It's gonna add in an empty string instead of nothing. So by having no information in instead, we don't put in anything. So if I hit execute step, we'll see here that it's going to add only to my influencer advertising plan. All right, but if I change this to expression, all right, mail advertising, execute the step again, we should see over here, mail advertising is now here as well. It was not there before, and now it's adding something empty. So if I come over here to mail, we'll come down way over here to the last one. Okay. All right. Oh, that it's not set up right. It's because I have all these extras items in here. So let's just go and delete these one more time. And actually, yeah, we'll delete up to this one here. How about this? Delete all of those. Okay, and now we're going to add it in one more time. All right, and so we'll see that it adds in my influencer marketing plan really quickly. There's my influencer marketing plan way over here. All right, but let's go ahead and add test data right here into my email marketing. So see, it says test data. All right, if I come back over here, because this is set to expression, in fact, I'll even make it more plain. Well, in the column next to it, test data here as well. So in email advertising and in mail advertising, I have it say test data. I come back over here and I execute step with mail advertising set to expression. Come back here, it's gone from the mail advertising. And that's because it's trying to put in information into that column, even though it's empty. And so by empty, it's literally putting in empty space. Whereas if I have it set to fixed, it doesn't even see the item at all. It considers it a null value and it's not going to mess with it. And so that's really what I wanted to make sure you guys understood about setting up and managing these Google Sheets with n8n is if you set these incorrectly, you might end up breaking your bot, breaking the amount of information or the flow of information that you're processing. So do be aware of that. Do be aware that if these are empty and fixed, it considers it a null value. It's not even going to pass it forward. If I attempted to have another bot pull information from this node here, so if I had, I broke this chain and I added in another maybe AI agent, and I was calling JSON, so the node right before, it would only see the product service name and the influencer advertising plan. At this point, it would also see the mail advertising being empty as well. And now you might want that. You might care to have that because maybe you have another a piece of JavaScript here, and it turns out that it does generate an empty value. Well, if it does generate an empty value, you might have maybe an if node after that or a switch node after that that's checking for it's empty to be able to then further process. But I think that's a nice, decent, basic tutorial on how to make sure that you're able to get your information in from Google Sheets and be able to put it back out into Google Sheets to be able to process that information so you can build powerful AI-powered automations that will allow you to operate your business at a whole nother level. Well, if you like this tutorial, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video. It really does help get this information out there. Also, please look at my free school community down below. The link is in the description. I've got a ton of additional tutorials. I got a ton of free workflows all available for free for you. You can take right now and implement in your business. Everything from social media posting bots to executive assistants, lead scrapers, and so much more. As always, I'm Bradford Carlton. Let's automate your success together.